Joining me today on the Capital Talk Show from Florida, Max Morgan. He's a chairman and founder of People Authorized. Nuruddin Bentik Shah is former political advisor of President of Tunisia, Beja Qaid al-Sibsi. He's joining me from Paris. Dr. Shaima Amadi, People Authorized Peace Ambassador, Tunisia, and she's also former advisor to former ambassador in the permanent mission at the UN, Rabbi Levy Abdurrahmanov from New York. Also, his People Authorized Peace Ambassador. You are most welcome. I'm gonna start with you, Rabbi Levy. This episode is dedicated to discuss the attack on the Jews in Tunisia during an annual festival. So 2 cousins were murdered. How did you recognize this attack?
To say the least, that today we're facing a very big disconnect towards peace. And the big disconnect towards peace is when we see such attack. It's a message to all of us that now is the time for us to get united and show to the world that it must be today to put stop to any kind of negative approach, any kind of terrorist attacks, because that's what separates each and every country, each and every family, each and every community, each and every society that there is in the world. And it's important for us to look at this as a sign from God that we have to take action today to make sure that we able to overcome this and find a solution how to create unity, because these attacks are very, very disturbing to not only Jewish people, it's disturbing to the world, because it starts with someone and then it goes to other nations and other nations. So if some nations will stay quiet, guess what? Next time it's going to be a different nation that will be attacked. And all of us have to voice our opinion and really stand for peace. And that's exactly where I stand.
Dr. Shaima Amadi, how did you, what is your approach on this matter? And this is can be considered as a terror attack, which harmed the tourism sector in Tunisia?
Actually, I want to correct you, Maria, first, because there wasn't only 2 cousins who died at this brutal attack, but also 3 National Guards agents from Tunisia. So we have a total victims of 5, all of them human beings who were praying or doing their job in peace. So if you ask me if I refer that as a terrorist attack or not, I will say this is terrorism by any definition. My country today, I feel like they were ashamed of calling that a terrorist attack, while terrorism has no religion, it has no nationality. We shouldn't be ashamed that to call it a terrorist attack, but we should be ashamed of the way we treated it.
Can you tell us more, Mr. Bentik Shah, how you see the government react to this attack? The president gave us the guarantees that what happened recently would not happen again. Chief Rabbi Haim Bitan said. Your approach?
So, for sure, I think that at the first time, government and president doesn't take very, very good approach about this terrorist attack, but after immediately they try to correct their position. Tunisia is a victim from many times to terrorist attack, so maybe it was some afraid about tourist season for this, but after they make everything to impeach other terrorist attack. But I think all governments can do many things to stop the majority of terrorist attack. But unfortunately, it came in Tunisia, in all the world. But we have to condemn, we have to explain to the world that terrorism, they have, like told Ms. Shema, no religion, no nationality, no country, no time, and it is condemned and it is refused. And education for all people to refuse these actions are very, very demanded for now in Tunisia and all in the world. I think that police in Tunisia are doing their best to impeach this terrorist attack, but unfortunately they can come that you don't wait. And this time it was one of the guards, and they have afraid about him, and he does this attack, this terrorist attack, and there is 5 victims in this, 4 Tunisian, 1 Tunisian Jewish, and for me and for all Tunisian, like the same Tunisian National Guard or Muslims, there is no difference between them, and there is no difference with the Tunisian French Jewish guy. He is like Tunisian Muslims, he is like Christian, he is like all the people. He is a victim of terrorist attack, condemned.
Yeah, we understand that the Tunisian people believe in tolerance. Mr. Max Morgan, mainly Tunisia is home to one of North Africa's largest Jewish community. It's all with about 1,800 members. Can you tell us more? And is this attack, how can you read it? It's very dangerous. Are all these Jewish people in danger now?
Well, not only that Tunisia is home to the 2nd largest Arab Jewish population, but also the synagogue is the oldest in Africa. But the atrocity that happened does not reflect the rich heritage and culture of the Arab world, as well as Islam. Whoever did this does not represent Tunisia, does not represent Islam, and does not represent the Arab world. And I can't imagine anybody not calling this a terrorist attack by definition, because when somebody is invited as a guest or a pilgrim in peace to perform their religion practices, they're expected to depart safely and go about their business, not be ambushed and lose their lives. So by all means, this does not represent Tunisia and any of us. And just look at this panel here. We have a beautiful tapestry united in condemning this atrocity. We have Muslims, Christians, and Jews united on one message, that this is, by definition, a terrorist attack, and we will not be silenced, and we will speak up against it, regardless of our religion or ethnicity.
Rabbi Abdurrahmanov, I want to know from you, what is the pilgrimage to Ghriba? Why this tradition is important? What is the historical significance of this place or of this synagogue?
If you could rephrase the question. I didn't hear you well.
The synagogue where the attacks happened, what is the historical importance of this place? And Jews comes to this place as a festival, annual festival regularly. It draws hundreds of Jews from Europe. They come to Tunisia. How do you see the importance?
I tell you, it's a very important question that you're asking, is how is it important? Because at one point in time in our lives, that was one of the places where we practice all the festivals. And today, grandkids, kids of great grandparents, today they want to visit and see how their historical place where their ancestors lived and practiced their religion. So, in all the festivals. So, it's very important because any synagogue in the world that we pray on high holidays. We just don't pray for our people. We have obligation to pray for the whole entire world success, happiness. So it's very close to their hearts that they go to this place to see, because at the end of the day, it's important for all of us to understand. We are sitting, like I always say, in one big boat. Whether it's a Muslim, whether it's a Christian, whether it's a Jewish, any religion in the world, we're sitting in this world on one boat. And there is a hole in the boat, water gets in, everybody will sink. So it's important for all of us to understand the historical place, like this synagogue in particular. It's attached to many events, to the great grandparents. And now everybody that you said coming from Europe to this synagogue to celebrate is because this is the place once upon a time where they prayed and on high holidays to commemorate God's commandment to be united, to be at peace. So when there's a disturbance of the peace, as such as a terrorist attack, to all of our knowledge, and that's how we call it, it's important to understand this is the opposite of God's name, because one of the names of God is Shalom, means peace, Salam. And if we don't know how to approach it, we can't call anybody that does such attacks that they are with God, because that's against God, because God's desire for all people around the world is to make sure that there's a peace among each and every one nation, each and every one person. And that's very important for us to understand. And that's the historical value that we're looking for.
That's what we agree, all of us, about it. This is why we support the Abraham Accords. Dr. Amadi, Al-Qaeda militants attacked the synagogue in 2002 with a truck bomb, killing 21 Western tourists.
Yeah.
So, how do you see, do you think that these attacks are going to happen again?
Actually, that's the third attack, as per my knowledge. The first one also was by a police officer in 1985, I believe. And the one you're referring to, Maria, actually, it was the same process. It was trying to be hidden by the government at the time, too. And then some diplomatic ties get with the German when they disclosed that it was a terrorist attack. So for the second time, Tunisia tried not to call this kind of attacks as terrorist attacks. If it will happen or not, I think any government or any country or any person is disposed to this kind of attacks. That's not the problem, but I think the real problem here is how to treat it. And one of the concerns that I have today is that everybody should be addressed fairly, and that the Jewish community in Tunisia shouldn't feel ruthless or less Tunisian than the Muslim Tunisians. Because I was on the phone yesterday with a witness who survived this brutal attack, and he mentioned to me some acts that are heartbroken, and I promised him that I will say I will transmit the info that he told me, like he transmitted. So apparently, as per my witness there, the bodies of the two Tunisian Jewish victims were not left in the morgue with the national agent and National Guard agents. So they were left in the heat until they start to decompose, actually. And they arrived there to their family in a very bad structure and, a bad smell. They also feel very sad and concerned about our president's remarks, where he did not mention the Jewish community in Tunisia and did not give them the respect they deserve or the condolences.
And also, you sent us a video. We're gonna show it right away. That where they digging the graves. And
yes, the same witness also sent me this video that are heartbroken. By doing some research, I think it refers to last year probably. But this was some grave that in a Jewish cemetery that were destroyed, unfortunately. So we cannot deny.
Not related to this attacks.
But it also refers, I think, and it's important to treat something is to start by pointing out the reason. We cannot deny and say we don't have anti-Semitism or we don't have racism. We do have it in our community, and we need to treat it for everybody to live in peace and to be brothers and sisters in humanity.
Exactly. This is my question. I will transfer this question to you, Mr. Bentik Shah. Tunisian President Kais Saied said the attack in DJERBA wasn't anti-Semitic. Any comments on that?
So there is a problem that President have to say from the first time that it is a terrorist attack. Then when French president say that this is anti-Semitic attack, I think there is a problem of language. We can, when there is an attack from Arab to Jewish, this is not anti-Semitic because Arab are also Semitic people. So for this, it is not called in our countries anti-Semitic, but it is a terrorist attack. So for this, and it is bad for us and for our president, and I'm really
disappointed.
Sorry for this, disappointed about his communication, but I can say that it is a terrorist attack from terrorist people against Jewish Tunisian people. We have Tunisian Muslim, and we have Tunisian Jewish, and we have Tunisian Catholic. Tunisia is a place we can live all the religion together, but they are in all the cases Tunisian. They are not migrant in Tunisia. They have their great grandparents there, and they are welcome in their country.
Yeah.
And they're not guests. Jewish are Tunisian. They're not guests.
They are part of the society. Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
I'm running from time. I want to ask you a question about the reaction in the United States. Mr. Max, do you see any cooperation with the government of Tunisia? Any security measures to preempt a similar of terror from happening again? This is our concern. Can you elaborate more?
Well, I'm not surprised that the incident have been downplayed in the U.S. Under the current administration. I don't think if President Trump was in office that this incident would have gone unnoticed. But however, there is an outrage in the Jewish community as well as in the Arab community because, again, this does not represent the Arabic people or the Muslims or Christians in general. But I also want to just highlight one important incident. In 2019, there was a mosque that was burned in New York, and the Jews of New York invited all Muslims to pray in the Central Synagogue. This is the harmony that has always been between the Abrahamic religion. And the fact that we're talking about this synagogue in Tunisia as the oldest synagogue in Africa shows that synagogue survived over at least 1,500 years where Muslims, Christians, and Jews coexisted in harmony. It was not destroyed. It was not burned. And as Mr. Bentik Shah just mentioned, there are Tunisian Muslims, Catholic Christians, or Jews that have existed for decades. But again, we have to call on governments and the United Nations to really, once and for all, take measures. Condoning every time a terrorist attack happens is not enough by governments, and it's not enough by the United Nations. Just like the World Bank is able to impose demands on governments to deal with their financials, the United Nations can impose sanctions on governments that do not take measures to seriously tackle terrorist attacks.
Thank you everyone for joining me on this special episode, and we hopefully we don't wish to see any attacks like this in the Arab world. We appreciate all your opinion, and thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having
Blessings to all. Blessings to all.
Thank you.